the Sports Show. Good morning and welcome to the Sports Show here on Lake Effect Radio. I'm your host, Ryan Kirby. We have a great show for you guys this morning. I want to talk about the Browns, as they're coming up. They will be playing on Sunday at home against the Chargers at 1 o'clock. Should be a fantastic game. You have, Baker Mayfield starting for the Browns. And he should be the starter for, for the rest of the season, in my opinion. But also with the... hopefully Rashard Higgins comes back. He was injured on Sunday against the Ravens. But let's talk about that game first off. When you look at the Chargers and the Browns, they're two great teams. The Chargers have a Hall of Fame quarterback in Phillip Rivers. They've got a great tight end in Antonio Gates. Actually, he's a Kent State grad. When you look at the teams as far as their defenses are concerned, you look at the Browns, they've got, Myles Garrett and Denzel Ward, Jabril Peppers, Joe Schobert. And then you look at, the Chargers with, Joey Bosa. There's been some word that he will play on Sunday against the Browns, but, they have Bosa. Their defense is, it's like the Browns, it comes together very well. But now joined by Jeremiah, looking at this matchup with the Chargers, do you see the Myles Garrett getting to Phillip Rivers early in the game, like what he did
Myles Garrett?
Yeah.
Oh, we're playing the Chargers?
Yeah, we're playing the Chargers on Sunday.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yep.
It's possible, for sure.
I mean, you look at how he got to Joe Flacco very early in the game against the Ravens. Do you see that same thing happening? The defense making big plays.
It depends on the backs. Can Gordon and that other dude, or his second stringer, block him? Because I don't think, let's face it, Gates, he's not all that.
Right.
He sure has this good receiving in that, but his better days are over.
Right.
Really don't have any other tight end outside of that. Right.
And then you also think about, the quarterbacks with, the Chargers have Phillip Rivers. You look at that as well. He's going to be a Hall of Famer, once, that time comes for him. But
the only thing is with the Browns, they got to be able to cap down, especially the running game for the Chargers. Like the past two that they been pretty much getting beat up and rushed all over, they got to come up with that answer.
Right. Yeah.
Not including even receiving.
Right. And you also look at Baker Mayfield making his second home start. Also, he's going to be. You look at that as well. It is his second home start. Coming off of a nail biter, against Baltimore. Do you see the Browns, not having to go into that sort of nail-biter situation, given that Baker Mayfield has that experience?
If they don't come off firing right off within the first offensive possession, yes. I give it 2 drives by the Cleveland offense. If they can't move the ball, they go 3 and out, they can't move it more than 30 yards, it's going to be a nail-biter.
Right.
Flat, simple.
Right. Now, also, you're going to have to, you look at what Denzel Ward did against Baltimore, having that blocked field goal. That was a key point in that game. Do you see that happening? Do you see the defense, having that presence of, having a couple big plays, like what Denzel Ward did, having those key hits, those keys?
Definitely possible. Do I think they're going to have like a field goal block in that? Not necessarily. Could I see a pick or two? Yeah. I'm not going to lie on that aspect.
Right.
Or a fumble and a pick.
that's the one thing I think we're all going to be hoping for as far as Baker Mayfield is concerned. As far as him not turning over the ball as much. He had that. Did have. I don't think he made. I don't think he had a. Did he have a pick against Baltimore? I don't remember if he did.
I thought so. Yeah, I thought it was. Yeah, he did have a pick.
But I mean, that is just one pick. But overall, that if Baker Mayfield can play, if he could play clean football, no picks. Do you see it being, let's say, 14-0 at the end of the first half with the Browns up? Do you see that happening if Baker does not make mistakes?
Well, it's other variables in that of can the defense stop sort of the run in their offense going. Do I see it being 14-0 after the first quarter? No.
No, first half. After the first half, do you see?
Not necessarily. If with the Raiders and with last week, if the same defense comes out like they did, it's not going to be
an easy game,
14-0 at half. I don't see that.
Right. But I mean, then you also look at the factors of it is going to be cold. They're expecting high low 50s for weather. I mean, the Chargers haven't played in that kind of weather, because they're, of course, their home is LA, so they really don't deal with the cold weather. Do you see that being a factor as well? In the Browns are
ish. I could see it a little,
right?
But yeah.
I mean, because it's gonna be. It's gonna be a cold game, so it'll be, the Browns being used to that playing those cold weather games and having the Chargers come from LA.
Well, you would think you can go back to the Pittsburgh game. You think they would be used to rain,
right? But they were. You could tell that they weren't. They weren't.
No. Then this is going to be the first cold one. Is it going to be hiccups in that? Is it not?
Right.
You tell me.
Well, and you also look at, the Raiders game that was, a 4:00 start. And then the past two games, against, Baltimore now going to be there when they face LA, it'll be a 1:00 start. So that will also, playing that later game against Oakland was the.
But preseason, they were playing late.
True.
So.
Having Baker Mayfield, play his first start, on the road, that whole thing, playing at, a 4:00 start, there had to be something there as well. But, it all depends.
I don't give it as much as what you were wanting to give it in there. He's a professional. He's played late games in college and blah, blah, blah. And then in preseason.
Right, he played against, the Giants. And
I would give him 25% off of that. 75% of he should be able to deal with it.
Right. And then you also look at, the Browns. I was just looking at the website. They are going to be without Rashard Higgins. So he is, out indefinitely for the game against the Chargers. So that'll also be another thing is that Baker Mayfield's going to be without one of his key receivers. So that also, there's going to be, some young guys coming up and having to fill that spot.
Can Callaway actually grab the ball?
Right. Can he not be like a Braylon Edwards, having the butterfingers, if you will, not being
past 2 weeks?
Right. Some of those passes were right in the numbers, and he could not make a catch. Now, the one thing I would like to see out of Callaway is if the ball gets past him, against Oakland when there's that pick six, I want to see him bat the ball down. If he knows, okay, I can't make the catch, but it's going to hit my fingers, bat it down.
Oh, he probably got drilled in the film room and all that. He probably got drilled by Landry about that, batting it up for a pick.
Instead of batting it down, because in my opinion, the Browns could have won that game if it hadn't been for that early score, because that's what got to them. But,
True.
And this is not going to be a divisional game this week, so that'll also be another thing is that this game does have importance, don't get me wrong, but it's not a divisional game. So you're going to have to watch, how does Cincinnati play? How does Pittsburgh play? How does Baltimore play? Because I think everybody wants to see, Pittsburgh lose, because if Pittsburgh loses, we're going to start to be up in that top 3 spot in the division.
The only thing is, can we win?
Right. That's the first.
Not including, I would like to see a win, not in overtime.
Right. I'd love to see, win, in regulation, just
actually
quarters of
taking
play.
it to him.
Right. I mean, and you look at the overtime period against Baltimore. We ended up receiving that kickoff, and we had the first possession of overtime, and we still couldn't capitalize. Having the first possession of the extra session, and in my opinion, we could have ended it right then and there with the the first few minutes of overtime. But it just with all these guys playing these overtime games, it just I feel like people are used to that. Like
In a way, but
you can't be used to it if
because you look, they only scored one touchdown or once in the first half or first quarter
right.
out of this year. That's got to change.
Right. I mean, they can't be coming back. They can't be, getting down early and then having to will their way back into the game.
Yeah, it shouldn't be, second, third, fourth quarter net. For the love of God, take the ball down the field,
Right.
get points, whatever.
Right. I mean, I feel like they run
whether
the ball.
it's a field goal, whether
Right.
it's a touchdown, I don't care.
I feel like they run the ball way too much. They're always running the ball a lot, and they hardly ever get big plays. I mean, it's once in a great while that they get a huge play off the running game.
Yeah, but the only thing is, in the past weeks, their running games look pretty darn good. You can't completely deny that.
Right, but I'm saying like
Compared to last year, that we couldn't even get more than 3 yards a carry.
Right.
We were lucky if we got 2.
Right. And then you also look at, are they going to use Nick Chubb at all in the game? Are they going to always use Hyde and Duke Johnson? Will they, given that they brought Chubb in against Oakland and he had those big touchdown runs, do you see that happening where they bring in Chubb, in a situation of...
The thing is, they'll probably bring him in because I'm just going to say it. Chargers defense, I'm definitely not that afraid of.
Right.
They're somewhat beaten down. They're not living up to the hype
Right.
that you think they would
Right.
be.
And
so,
actually, they have one of their key defensive ends out in Joey Bosa. He will be out for that game. So that'll be another thing, is that he's one of their key defenders on the defensive line. So it'll be one thing that it'll be different. Because
theoretically, at the point, they should be able to run down these guys.
right. The only thing is that if they do that double reverse, if the guy doesn't make that mistake of running backwards, that's the one thing I didn't understand, is why would you run backwards? It's like if you have to, run the other
using
way.
that guy that we haven't seen in how many weeks since preseason?
Since preseason. I mean, he was a young guy. You didn't know. I mean, that is a rookie mistake. Don't get me wrong.
But the worst thing is doing it when they were, on the 10-yard line or something?
I mean, if he would have ran any further back, he probably would have been in the end zone. It would have been a safety.
Yeah, you don't run that kind of play when you're within your own
Right.
20.
I mean, I could see, a flea flicker, if you will. I could see that, like a pass play. I couldn't never see, running play from the 10-yard, from, backed up in your end zone. Because
I think they were on the 12 or 13, which that's a dumb play call to do it.
Right.
When you're in your own, deep territory.
Right.
If you're at the 50-yard line,
Yeah.
you go do that, I can live with that.
Right. Yeah, right. I mean, but having it backed up in your own, in your own area, it's like, really? Like, you're setting yourself up to have to punt, have to go 3 and out on that.
This brings up the one question of, with Higgins out, Callaway struggling.
Right.
They have a bunch of young guy wide receivers.
Right.
Should we bring in somebody?
You mean like a veteran?
Yeah.
I could see that. Because, I mean, the only...
It's starting to really bring up that talk
Right.
of what should we do.
Right. 'Cause, I mean, you look at, I feel like our own big playmaker has to be, or is Jarvis Landry. That's our only big wide receiver. I mean, besides Higgins. I mean, Higgins makes great plays, don't get me wrong. But you also look at, Landry's only, our only main veteran, if you will.
Pretty much.
I mean...
Since Gordon's gone.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like he really didn't have an effect on the team as far as, playmaking is concerned. Because he hardly played any games, and we couldn't see what his full potential was.
What, Gordon?
Yeah.
We knew his potential. The only thing is he sure was lackluster since he came back from his thing.
Right. I mean, that's the other thing, is that it was like a distraction to the team that he's got all this stuff going on, and it's you know, and then the guy comes to practice and he's, you know, not himself, as they put it. I mean, I'm happy they let him go. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I wish him all the best with New England. I mean, I just don't want to see him win a Super Bowl, flat out. I mean, that'd be one of those things that I think anybody in Cleveland would not want to see with Gordon, is to see him win, you know, a Super Bowl with New England.
True.
Because, I mean, then that wouldn't show, okay, he did have some issues, but he got rid of them. But, you know, he is with a better quarterback, in my opinion. I mean, Baker's a great quarterback, don't get me wrong. But, you know, Gordon's now with a first ballot Hall of Famer in Tom Brady. I mean, there's also that difference of that.
Yeah, now comes the thing, Des Bryant, Matthews, I didn't realize he's out there still. From Tennessee and that guy.
They should go after Des Bryant. I mean, they were going after him, and then they shut that down. But I feel like they should still look at going after Des Bryant, because if you put Des Bryant along with Jarvis Landry,
yeah,
I mean, I
forgot Macklin's still out there.
Oh, wait, that guy from was it Missouri? Went to Missouri.
Oh, Jeremy Maclin.
He went to Missouri. He's college. Yeah, he went to Missouri, and then he played with Kansas City and I think Philadelphia as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, you see all these guys in this free.
Brandon Coleman, didn't he sign?
You're thinking of Corey Coleman.
No, Brandon.
I don't remember that name.
From the Saints.
Think so. Yeah, he did. Yeah.
I swore he signed.
Yeah. But I mean, you look at how the Browns, they were going after, you know, Des Bryant. What about, you know, even look at what Antonio Brown said. What if the Steelers are willing to give? I mean, they wouldn't trade him. They probably, you know, if anything happens, they let him go. But I don't think they're gonna let him go anytime soon. But
no.
I mean, unless
Antonio Brown, it would be nice. The only bad thing is what Pittsburgh would want for it.
In my opinion, they'd want like a high first round pick, if that.
I could see 2. I could see them going and asking for 2.
And even maybe like a Nick Chubb.
What, Browns?
He's a pro.
No, if you went after Bell, they would want that.
What, Nick Chubb and?
Oh yeah. If you went after Bell, they would probably want Chubb. They probably would want a first round pick.
Right.
Probably a second too. Because they're going with the high end. They have the key asset.
Right.
It's up to whoever
wants to give them what they're
the
looking
most for
right,
it.
Right. I mean, you also look at you know, being without, you know, you look at, you know, the game on Sunday, they're gonna be without Higgins, you know. Some of those rookies are gonna have to really step up, but
oh yeah.
I mean, if they can pick up Des Bryant, great, because they won't have to give anything up for him. They just have to give him what he wants as far as the money is concerned.
That's the best really option.
Des Bryant.
Yeah. So let's see.
Because I mean, Jeremy Maclin. I mean, he had a couple good years with Kansas City and Philadelphia, but other than that, he wasn't.
Yeah. He's a little past his time.
Right.
Let me look up. I thought Antonio Brown was like 30 or 29.
I think he was like 29. But I mean, he's still. I mean, and then you also look at.
Well, giving up 2 first round picks and that. Oh, he's 30.
Okay.
So, like him, he's probably, got 3 years?
3 or 4 years left. I mean, he's probably going after what Tom Brady's going after, you know, playing well into his 40s. I mean...
Well, him getting hit by linebackers, all that.
True.
So...
True.
Best case scenario, 3 years. So you give up 2 first-round picks, and that's still sort of steep.
Right. I mean, even if we do... I mean, if the Browns have a winning season, and they end up not getting the number 1 pick... The Steelers may want, you know, 2 first-rounders and a second-rounder for Brown if we don't get if we end up not having a losing season and, you know, going to the playoffs or
I would
something like
see Pittsburgh going one thing. Want a first round this year and next year if you went after Brown.
And those being, you know, like...
but the worst thing is if you trade within your division, depending if they do horrible in that...
That just makes them better, and...
It makes them better and makes your life a lot worse.
So, like, going after Des Bryant would be a heck of a lot better.
Oh,
because then you wouldn't be changing
You're
anything.
pretty much giving your enemy ammo.
Right. But then you look
Which
at
that's pretty much shooting yourself in the foot.
right, because then that makes you less likely to even make the playoffs or make
Oh, yeah.
get the division or anything like that.
It would be a really bad idea to go and try to give Pittsburgh 2 first-round picks for Brown.
Right,
Because it's pretty much, you might as well shoot yourself in the foot at that point.
right. But then you also look at they may say just no deal after that. Like they may if someone goes after Brown, they may just like push him away, saying no, we're not giving him up.
That's even like many people even saying, hey, Cleveland should go after Bell. I wouldn't, for just the aspect they're going to want.
A ton for him.
Oh, yeah, because they know his peak
Is coming.
is still out there.
Right.
Not including he'll rush for over like 1,000 something yards. He'll at least receive out of the backfield in at least 700 whatever and that.
Right.
So you can get at least 200 yards or so off of the
Right.
guy.
You're basically like you said, you're basically trading to your enemy.
Yeah.
It's like with fantasy. I mean, if you give up something and someone wants, this and this, you're basically giving up something
Oh, yeah.
to another person in your fantasy league, and then they're gonna beat you. And I mean,
It sort of goes down even like the Bell talks. They're going to want at least two first-round picks. I wouldn't be surprised. Let's say Cleveland actually went after Bell. They would want to probably. I don't see them wanting Duke. I don't see them wanting Carr. So they would want Chubb.
right? They would want.
They would probably at least want a first-round pick, if not a second or first. Which, if you think, giving up a young guy plus,
Two first round.
let's say, for two first-round picks on top of it,
Yeah.
that's really steep.
I mean, and you don't know what those first round picks may be. They could very easily be the number one pick, if anything happens.
Not including you think of the missed talent you're not going to get.
Right.
Not including
Chubb's pretty good.
Chubb?
Is pretty good.
will he equate to Bell like how fast Bell was
Maybe.
or came to be? Maybe.
Right.
Maybe not.
I mean,
But it's not horrible.
Right.
And that's the other thing when I said about, hey, whatever, Hyde being here.
Right.
Might as well use him in that, then occasionally, get Chubb in that.
Right.
He's your future if you use, because Carlos, we have a 3-year deal, I think, with him.
Something like that.
If you use him as a workhorse at least 2 of the years in that,
Right.
you're just making that you have a good, when that comes that time, that switch around.
Right.
He gets the experience. He's not, taking the, pure blunt at it.
Right.
So,
Now, would you ever you were talking about going after having the Browns go after Des Bryant? What would you see as far as? I mean, I know he's probably he's a big money guy. What would you see them offering him as far as money, like contracts?
you would have to give him probably at least $8 million.
But like how many years? Would you say like a 2 or 3 year?
I would do like 16 mil, maybe a $1.5 million signing bonus. Because he is a talent. He's still got stuff in the tank and that, and he can be a danger. The only bad thing is he had the other thing of the past many years of him being in Dallas, being injured.
Right. You also have those injury. He's like injury
So,
prone.
I would say the max 20, at the low end, like 14,
14 mil. You mean like?
somewhere in that range.
I could see that.
You're going to have to pay a little.
So like he's probably be covering most of the Browns salary cap anyway.
No, we still have money, man. Because if you do a 2-year deal, you're only going to probably, because they still got 60
Yeah, something like that.
still left. So, 8 mil, that's nothing.
Right. I mean that's nothing to some of these other teams what they're doing.
Oh, yeah.
But I mean, and you also look at keeping and also I don't know. I don't even know who the backup is to Baker. Well, Baker, his backup is Tyrod, and then who's the backup to Tyrod? Who's the third?
Or Drew.
Drew Stanton.
Yeah.
I mean, he's old. I mean, not old, but he's getting there.
Oh yeah.
Would you ever think about trading Drew Stanton and going after someone to back up Tyrod?
There's really no one out there. Except you have Cooks that just got released off the practice squad of the Panthers.
That's true.
Connor Cook, yeah, he just got
Yeah,
dropped.
the guy from he went to Michigan State. You're right.
You could go get rid of Stratton, pick him up, but then he doesn't have that much, experience in the NFL.
Right.
So you're risking a lot.
Right. But even if he just is that, that safety valve, if you will, if something happens, to Tyrod or to Baker, that guy who can just come in. I mean, look at Cody Kessler. I mean,
I would bring Cooks right now on the practice squad. He would be worth it.
Right. Now, what about kickers? What would you see? Would you see the Browns ever giving up Greg Joseph, given that
They've shown that they'll cut someone, so
right?
I'm not going to lie. I could see them dropping him again. I could see them going through another kicker before the end of the year. I'm not going to lie.
Right. I mean, I could see them bringing, was it Brendan Colquitt, their punter? I know he was a kicker. He was a place kicker. I forgot for what. I think it was
With how he's been doing, I don't think they're going to go make him change.
That's true.
I would see them trying to drag someone. Except, do I think going after a rookie kicker was a bright idea?
No.
Not really.
Do you see them going after, I know Kerry Spears still on the, still in the market. The guy from, he went to Vanderbilt and then he was actually a graduate from Mayfield High School, going after him. I mean,
possibly.
Cause I know they had cut him I think it was last year they brought him on and then they ended up cutting him.
I could see that.
I mean, because in my opinion, what Greg Joseph did to the game-winning field goal that he kicked, that wasn't blocked. I actually watched the highlight. It was.
No, it did.
Oh, let's see. I was watching the highlight.
I see higher sideline ones, except they're really pixelated in that.
Mm-hmm.
But you could see the guy that was running from the left over.
Mm-hmm.
You seen that he had his hands up, not including the ones that are right down on the field. You could hear that thud in there,
Right.
like it hit something.
Right. I think that's one thing they also have to work on is their field goal, their defense, their special teams as far as that is concerned with the field goals. The blockers. They can't let guys do that because for all we know, we could have been talking about a tie.
And the hilarious thing, it came off the same exact side of the Pittsburgh game, the left hand side on the field goal. Someone coming in on that side again.
Oh yeah, because T.J. Watt blocked the one.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Well, not including Watt and whatever that corner was, broke down that side. But yet again, this past weekend, it came right off that side again.
I didn't even think about that, but
Yeah, same exact side. Left-hand side on the field goal.
I feel like the Browns just keep getting lucky as far as these.
They're cursed right now on the left side of their field goal squad when it comes to game-winning situations.
That's why they need to finish the games in regulation and not have to go to overtime. Because
Or they need to go and, figure out either getting the people on the left-hand side of the field goal, the man up and take it.
Or you could always.
Or you get somebody that can go in and actually do the job correct.
Now, it may sound stupid for saying this, but I could see them putting Myles Garrett on the left side of their field goal. I mean, he's a big guy. He could, you know what I mean? Just somebody. It doesn't matter who it is. Just somebody who can take over that left side.
It's a very rarity. You always see offensive linemen more.
Well, no, he's a defense.
I know, but it's a rarity to see defensive players out there on that squad.
Right, but I mean, all you're doing is blocking. It's not like you're doing anything major. I mean,
Yeah, but more defensive guys are not used to blocking.
Well, that's true. But
especially in the NFL, you go to high school, you see, defensive players, offensive players, and that. Not as much in college,
right.
but it's out there.
Right.
In the NFL, you don't see that worth a darn.
What that changeover?
It's either tight ends, fullbacks, offensive linemen, backup offensive linemen.
Right. I think the only reason we're getting burned on the left side, personally, is because I think they have Nick Chubb blocking that left side or I think it's either him or Hyde that are blocking that left side.
Well, it was Antonio and Fells, the first one during Pittsburgh, that botched it.
Right.
I didn't see. Let me see. I'll go back to that video. But yeah,
I mean, that's because I mean it could be right now. One was it 1, 2, and 2, right?
they could be 5-0,
It could be 5-0 right now, but
but they couldn't finish it versus Pittsburgh. They couldn't.
finish it versus New Orleans,
Yeah.
or you can finish it.
Well, really, the kicker couldn't finish it with New Orleans.
Right, because he botched that.
Let me look that up.
But I mean, you also look at the game against Baltimore when Greg Joseph kicked that field goal, that was a 60, 55-yarder or something, and it wasn't even close.
But he wasn't key to be even that long of a leg.
But hey,
But at least he got it up and he kicked it at it. I'll give him that props.
Yeah, I mean, he had the leg. He just kicked it way left. No,
But even before that, they were saying, I forgot his range was 50 or whatever, little less 40.
right,
He's a rookie. He has still strength and all that things to work on with kicking field goals.
right,
I'm not holding it against. That's pretty much a shot in the dark.
right,
Throwing a rookie out there and say, "Hey, kick this 62-yard field goal."
right.
To expect him to make that,
I mean, but hey,
you have really high expectations. If many people are thinking that,
but when you think about that, look at was it the Giants in was it the New York and Carolina?
Yeah.
That guy kicked it was a 62-yarder and absolutely just drilled it.
I
mean,
know, but you're still a rookie walking in that situation to pull off a 62-yard field goal. You don't see that happen in the NFL that much.
that's true. I mean,
It's your batting odds of that's 1 of 3
right,
of it.
right.
Let me see.
And you also, you look at, actually, one of our key linebackers is also going to be out for the game on Sunday. James Burgess.
Ooh.
So that's another. I mean, it's just we're getting hit. I mean,
But I got Avery.
right. I mean, you also have who was it? Joe Schobert. You've got Myles Garrett. You've got
Yeah.
there's. I mean, the list goes on and on. Heck, you could bring Jabril Peppers. Have him do it. I mean,
But safeties were,
yeah,
especially after Mitchell getting hurt.
right. That's very true.
Hopefully he can return this season.
Right.
Because he looked not bad. Not bad at all.
Who?
Mitchell.
That's true.
It sucked how, his wrist and neck got broken, but it happens.
Right.
It won't play the field goal. Darn it.
So it says that Burgess is questionable on Sunday, and then Higgins is expected to miss at least 2 games. So that should be that'll be a huge loss. But,
yeah.
But I mean, you look at where our defense is at. Where our defense is ranked even. I mean, it's amazing to see where our defense, from last year to this year. I mean,
Where are they ranked?
Oh man,
I haven't seen that personally myself.
let me take a look. Let's see here.
I would be curious to see how our defensive units actually ranked, even offensively. It won't show me the field goal. Stupid phone. Have to look at that. Let's see. Jump onto that and see where we're ranked in there. Yeah, good old-fashioned times. It's
Yeah,
kind of
the,
funny to see us ranked actually third in our own division.
Right.
You never seen that. much.
That's true. Where's that?
Let's see. Oh, this is 10 weeks ago. Need to find something sooner.
Right. Oh, here we go. Let's see here.
You found it?
Let's see here. Guess not. Wait a minute.
No?
No. So,
I'm looking. Defensive ranking. Let's see this one. Currently, they are... Wow. You would think that they would have this, that it could be easily found, but
right.
no.
I can't find it.
This is somewhat a joke. Internet's worthless on this aspect. Or wait. Game statistics. Let's see what the NFL has to say. Might have found it. We'll find out. Will it load on my phone? Here we go.
Yeah, I can't find their defensive ranking.
With the game statistics, they're actually ranked 31st.
Okay, that's not too bad. I mean,
with defense.
Okay.
Let's see offense. Offensively, which that sort of is. I could see with the past two games that they really gave up some big plays and all that, it being like that.
Right.
So I'm not going to lie on that aspect. I'm not. Offensively, they're ranked 30th.
Okay, so I mean it's about that. I mean, but I mean you look at I'm looking at the standings overall right now. Browns are third. They're in third right now behind Baltimore. I mean, I think the one thing that's keeping us, up there is that one tie. If you think about it.
Yeah,
because if we didn't have that one tie, if we were 2-2 and didn't have a tie, we'd be behind Pittsburgh. But I think because we have that one tie with Pittsburgh,
did Pittsburgh win 2 games?
They're 2-2-1, and then we're 2-2-1. Because they beat, what was it? Who'd they beat? I know they beat. Yeah, because they beat Atlanta. They beat Atlanta, and then they beat Tampa, and then they lost to Kansas City and Baltimore, and then they've got Cincinnati this week at Cincinnati. So if Pittsburgh were to lose and we win, there's a big possibility we'd be I think in third, in solo third, if you know what I mean. But you look at last year. Let's see if I can bring up last year's. Well,
wait,
last year,
Pittsburgh's playing Cincy?
Yes.
Damn.
But you look at last year.
It's almost that decision. You're darned if you did, and you're darned if you don't.
Right.
I would like to actually see both of them lose, but
who?
Both Pittsburgh and the Bengals.
Well, they're playing each other.
I know. Or they tied.
Yeah,
that would be funny.
That would be something.
If Baltimore can kick the bucket. Because I want to see Pittsburgh at the bottom.
Right. So
if they could at least tie, because I don't want Bengals to win. I don't want to see Pittsburgh win.
Right.
They could tie, Baltimore get nailed,
Right.
then we win. I could live with that.
Right. Because we're at home against LA this week, and then we're at Tampa, and then at Pittsburgh. So I mean, there's some key games coming up. I mean, I'd say the two key games are going to be against Tampa and against Pittsburgh. But then you also look at, we have to be, what was it? At home against Kansas City, at home against Atlanta, at Cincinnati, at Houston, at home against Carolina, and then at Denver, and then at home against Pittsburgh, and then we finish the season at Baltimore. So in my opinion, the only key games are against Pittsburgh, Cincinnati, and Baltimore.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe, the Chiefs game, maybe the
The Chiefs game, that's going to test a lot.
Right, because you have Patrick Mahomes. But, I mean, think about it. He threw a couple picks last week.
I know, but still, yeah, that's going to test a lot.
Of our defense. I mean,
God, yeah.
I mean, you look at Tyreek
Well,
Hill.
even offensively, going after them.
Right. But in my opinion...
I actually, on the NFL, I actually found the team rankings. So, offensively, 20th. Defensively, 12th. Passing, 23rd. Rushing, 2nd.
That's not... Wow. Wait. This second rush in... Wow.
Yes.
And then what were we in defense?
Yes, I did not just...
You just... Wait.
12th defensively.
Let me see that. Let me see that for a second.
12th defensively, 20th offensively, passing 23rd, rushing 2nd.
Wow. Wow. Wait, we're second. Wow. Wow. That's...
Well, here, if you look at it, with Carlos Hyde and Chubb, they almost have 500 yards.
Right.
With 7 touchdowns in between both of them.
Right. Wow, holy cow.
So right there.
No, wait. Who's first in those categories? In each of those categories? Like, who's first in rushing? Who's first in pass or offense?
I would have to try to find the team or overall NFL thing. Yeah, I just clicked on the Cleveland Browns on NFL.com, and yeah, I got to see all this.
I'm going to look into that. Yeah, because, I mean, you have to think, Pittsburgh's got to be first in passing. That's my guess. It's either Pittsburgh or New England.
I don't know. I would see with passing number 1, I would probably say Kansas City. I would have to go Kansas City on that. Especially because they've been lighting it up. Let me go over to Kansas City right now. Oh, passing 11th. Darn. But they're ranked number 2 in offense.
Wow.
I wouldn't seen that coming.
Yeah, in offense overall, it's LA's in first in total offense. Total defense, Jacksonville.
Are you talking Rams?
Yeah.
Okay.
The Rams, yeah. Yeah, and then total defense, Jacksonville.
So they got dismantled.
Right. Carolina's first in rushing. So, I mean, that's...
Who was in passing?
Passing Tampa. Tampa's first in...
Oh, yeah.
Passing.
I could see that.
Right.
Yeah, I could see that.
Right. And then...
Damn. I would have never actually guessed that was them,
And
though.
then not Green Bay. Jacksonville's first in total defense. So, I mean, that's a crazy
Impressive.
thing. Yeah. And then, what is it? And then in third in total rushing is actually Denver. Denver's third in total, or in rushing, excuse me. That surprises me a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah. That's very questionable.
Right.
Yeah, NFL.com is actually useful.
Yeah.
It actually tells you the or correct things. Like whoever thought Miles Garrett would have 5 sacks right now.
And then we're actually 16th in total offense. So I mean that's not too bad.
I wonder why the NFL says 20th.
I'll say I'm looking at statistics.
Yeah, that's regular season. And just curiosity, let's see if I could look up post or preseason
I'll say we got to be up
rankings. Oh, they don't have them. Or wait. No, they don't change it, darn.
Yeah, the regular season leaders so far: Baker Mayfield with 3 touchdowns, 63 completions, and 838 yards. Rushing, Carlos Hyde is leading with him and Chubb are leading with. Let's see, Hyde's got 348 yards rushing, and 5 touchdowns. Chubb's got 148 yards and 2 touchdowns, and then receiving. Jarvis Landry's leading with 29 receptions for 381 yards and a touchdown. So,
yeah, sort of shocking. Never thought that I would see the day of this. Let me look at their schedule really quickly. Huge thing is we got to knock off Cincy.
right. And actually, Demarius Randall's leading on the defensive side of the ball. He's leading with let's see.
He really looks like a good move, though.
Right.
For sure. Definitely is banged up here and there, but he somehow toughs up and comes out.
Right. Well, I mean, you also look at, Baker Mayfield. I mean, he's doing very well. I mean, to see the team where it's at now. I mean, we're 20th in points, in total points, with 22.8 points per game, or that per game, something like that. But I mean, even you look at that. I mean, to see where the team's at now. I mean, and then we're in yards, is that 16th? Yeah, 16th in yards with 376 yards. Passing yards, we're 23rd with 231.4 passing yards. We're second in rushing yards with 144.6. I mean, I think having Myles Garrett back on the defensive side of the ball was a huge boost. Because you look at last year, he hardly played last year. And
true.
I mean, that affected our defense because we had a lot of rookies on the defensive side of the ball last year.
Oh, we didn't have anything on defense.
Yeah, I mean,
or offense.
Right. I mean, if you think about it, they're playing Jabril Peppers like closer to the line, whereas last year he was, as they put it, like a center fielder. He was playing, 20 or 30 yards back behind.
But our secondary flat out sucked.
True.
I'm not going to lie there.
Right. I mean, that is.
Our secondary, it was almost like a mash unit.
That's true.
It was like anyone that was either a safety or a corner go back there. I hate to put it that way, but that's pretty much what it was. Not including both sides of the football being pretty much gutted of experienced talent or good talent leading up to that point.
Right.
Like a best example is you look at Mitchell Schwartz that went over to Kansas City. He hasn't missed a play yet since he's been, or a game yet.
That's very
in
true.
his career. That was a horrible move of not re-signing him.
It's very true.
So,
but I mean, now where are the Chargers ranked as far as those stats are concerned? Because that's the other thing that I was trying to look at. Let's see here.
Rushing, I could see them up there on that scale because Gordon and his backup, they've been tearing it up.
Right.
The only bad thing is I have Gordon on
Fantasy.
my fantasy, yeah.
Right.
So it's that thing of, do I want to win fantasy or do I want to see them win?
Right.
Dilemmas. That's the only bad part of it.
All right, so I'm just pulling it up right now. The Chargers are, let's see here. They are, what is it?
Chargers.
Eighth in points with 27.4 points. Seventh in yards with 405.2. And then they are 13th in passing yards with 289.6. And then they're 11th in rushing yards with 115.6. So, I mean, we've got a better...
I thought they would be more up in rushing than what they are. Huh.
But, I mean, that's overall in the league. Though, that's... The league, the only thing that they're 11th in the NFL in rushing. The other two are just based in the NFC or AFC.
No.
But, I mean, you look at that as well. I mean, and then their defense is what? Let's see here.
Oh, they've been dismantled quite a few times.
As far as defense?
Oh, I could see that being like 20 or under. I would probably say at least 25.
Let's see.
I would be not shocked on that aspect, if not 28th. Their defense, I actually drafted that in fantasy. They haven't impressed. They're definitely not that threatening. I thought they would be more of a good presence than what they are. But they're giving up a lot of points.
Right. But, I mean, you look at you talk about them having, Melvin Gordon, a standout player from Wisconsin, great running back. And then you look at the Browns, and they've got, two veterans, Carlos Hyde, Duke Johnson, they have those guys, and they've got, rookie Nick Chubb. You look at that and you think, well, the Browns, they've got a more complete running game,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, but then you look at records, the Chargers are 3-2, we're 2-2-1. We could, as you said before, we could seriously be 5-0 right now. But I mean,
Yeah.
The other thing is that, you look at the Chargers, they won't have one of their key linebackers in Joey Bosa on Sunday. So our running game's going to be, tearing them apart on Sunday. But then you look at, their corners. I mean, they've got, what is it? I mean, their corners, I mean, have been doing, I mean, let's see. Trevor Williams, one of their key corners, has one interception, 86 yards. His longest was 86 yards, but you look at, their defense, I mean, it's not, I mean, if in my opinion, if they had Bosa, I bet you they'd be up there in defense.
Maybe. They had many other people out.
Right.
But it's definitely not threatening as bad as what I thought it was
Right.
going to be.
And then you also look at, we've got a rookie quarterback in Baker Mayfield playing, and, they've got an older guy playing in Phillip Rivers who's, his career's, I mean, he's playing very well, don't get me wrong, but he's starting to tail off a little bit. So, you look at that as well, we've got a young guy, 23 years old playing lights out football. I mean,
He hasn't been playing lights out football.
as far as, from comfortable is concerned, he's becoming more and more comfortable in the pocket, he's,
I can see one thing. He's right now playing average.
right. But he's going to be getting to that point of, in my opinion, I could see him playing, very,
I don't see
not
that
making
before the end of the season.
not making many mistakes this year. I could see that. His first start, I get, he made the one mistake. I get that. But I feel like, those mistakes are going to start, disappearing. He's not going to be making those throwing a pick here. I mean, a pick here and there is okay, but I can't see him throwing 3 or 4 picks in a game. I can't see him doing that because he's a runner as well. So that's the other thing that's nice. is that there's that list that there it's less likely that he'll throw picks because he can run the ball. You know, he knows, okay, if a guy isn't open, there's an opening on the right side of the offense. I can run the ball. And he won't be taking hits like Tyrod Taylor. He doesn't want to take those hits. I mean, yeah, he was
I beg to differ on that.
Why do you say that?
No, he's going to go and here and there. He's going to try and make a play and get nailed. I can see that in the future. I definitely don't agree on the aspect of lights out football, especially yet. I don't see that happening before the end of the season.
Right. But I mean, as the season goes on, I could see him making those adjustments, you know, to the point of maybe next year he'll be playing, you know, top-notch football.
I don't know. I don't know on that aspect yet.
I mean, it's shown, you know, his
then he can't really make the call after 2 games,
right, or 2.5, if you will, because of the game against the
Making
Jets.
a judgment off of that you can't really make a judgment off of.
You know, playing half the first half and most of the second half of the Jets game, and then coming in and starting against Oakland and Baltimore. I mean, now if he came in and started against Pittsburgh and won that game,
yeah,
I could see people, you know, talking about, hey, you know, this guy's he's got a very bright future ahead of him, you know. But the only good team he's beaten, in my opinion, is Baltimore. That's his only, you know, big time win that he can show for. Because that was a divisional opponent, and they have a great defense. But
well, the huge thing is even Pittsburgh that always messes with rookies. Can he survive that, especially at their house now?
Right, being at Heinz Field, you know, that's gonna be. It'll probably be. My guess is, I mean, the game's what? It'll be. Shoot.
I know it's coming.
It's gonna be just October 28th, so it's gonna be a cold. Yeah. It'll probably be very. It'll be, you know, those winter months will start to kick in, so it'll be one of those games that, you know, it's gonna be a cold one, but I think that's the one thing that I am anxious to see on Sunday is how is he gonna handle the cold weather? You know, being from Oklahoma, you know, not having played in many cold weather games, you know, will he be up to that challenge and playing, you know, in 50-degree weather? But that all comes in practice. So if he can make those adjustments, I mean, and as I said on Monday, you know, with him being under center, he's gonna have to work on, you know, being under center because, you know, looking at him at Oklahoma, he was mostly, you know, in the shotgun, taking snaps. He was never under center all that much. I mean, I think that was awesome to see. You know, he wasn't making those mistakes against Baltimore. He wasn't fumbling the ball on a snap. But you also think about, you know, the Baltimore has a great defense. They you know, got to him a few times, but they don't. Baker was able to show that he can, you know, doesn't matter the stage. I mean, you look at him when he was at Oklahoma in the Rose Bowl playing one of the biggest games of his career. I mean, I know that's college, but it's still a big stage, and he was able to handle it.
Baltimore, they might look good as a defense, but in seriousness, they're not that threatening.
I mean, you know, you look at the guys that have retired over the years from them. You know, you look at Ray Lewis. He's now in the Hall of Fame.
Well, I mean, like currently, now.
Currently, okay.
Their defense, it looks and it can be
dangerous, but
in reality, it's like Pittsburgh. It doesn't look like it was that bad.
Right.
They can be. The only thing is, like, let's say since Ryan's still out, they still haven't found that middle linebacker that can lead that defense, and that they patched together their secondary at the tail end of free agency.
Right.
Their linebacking core front, their linebacking not as much, except really the outside guys and the D line's threatening-ish.
Right. And when you were talking about Ryan Shazier, I don't know if he's even coming back for this year.
No, he's not. They already said that. He's not coming back. this year.
Okay.
He's taking time and that,
because of his
all that.
right.
So Pittsburgh, their defense,
Right.
at least front six, that's what you got to worry about.
Right.
The other part of it, not bad. The only thing is offensively, you got to worry about.
Antonio Brown.
Yeah, Antonio Brown for one.
Le'Veon Bell.
Yeah, Bell comes actually back.
James Conner. I mean, even though he is, he was.
It depends. It depends what running back. You don't know if they're going to trade one, whatever, what's going on in that house.
Right.
God knows the offensive line's not going to be really happy with Bell
being back.
Yeah.
Because I think, isn't it the game against us, that's his first game back, if I'm not mistaken. So I think that'll be also, how will the offensive line for Pittsburgh handle Bell being back?
But that depends if they don't go and trade him before then.
Right.
Who knows?
Right. For all we know, they could do something right before that game. They could do something that Friday and give something up right before the game. And
yeah, we don't know that answer. Stay tuned for that episode of what happens with Pittsburgh.
Right, see what happens. That'll be one thing we'll be covering Monday morning for sure, as far as what, we'll definitely be recapping the Browns game for sure. Hopefully we're talking about a Browns win on Sunday, but I think everybody hopes for, a winning season. I know, the Indians, they lost. That was hard to go through. But you know what? As everybody says in Cleveland, there's always next year. So.
Yeah, I got you.
So we're just about to wrap it up. So we thank you again for listening to the Sports Show here on Lake Effect Radio. We hope to see you guys on Monday, as we will be recapping the Browns game, the Ohio State game, and much more. We thank you for listening to the Sports Radio Show here on Lake Effect Radio. Have a good day, everybody.